All right, well, I guess I'm live. At least I should be. Oh, cool. Now I'm live. Excuse me. Let's see. It is too hot in here. I just put the AC back on. Oh, okay. Live. On Rumble. Sick as well. Okay, sorry, one second. Let's see. I want to do reaction content for a while. But I gotta... So I'm going to test out how to use StreamYard because I'm moving over to StreamYard now. And like react to stuff. So I'm going to play a couple of videos. If anybody has anything, if anyone's actually watching this, it says that there's a couple people on Twitter. If there's anything, if any video you want me, like a YouTube video that you want me to react to or anything or look at, then just send it to me, please. Because I'm just trying to figure out the... you know, the tech side of this. I'm not a very techie person. Where is it? What's going on here? Oh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna watch a couple. It doesn't tell me. That's all right. I'm gonna watch some videos that I have saved from Instagram. But if you have anything else, it's not right. To be honest with you, I'm kind of retarded. I'm trying to figure out the tech. If you didn't hear me say that, hello. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to... To be honest with you guys, I am not only kind of retarded, I am very retarded. And I need to log into my Instagram. This is why this is a test. Let's see here. Anybody here on the YouTubes right now? You want to let me know who's here? The only person that liked my post on Twitter. That's okay. I don't like me very much either. Where's the damn... So I saved like reels to... there it is. It's in the tab marked saved. That seems like it makes a lot of sense. And maybe I'm really stupid. Wow, I saved a lot of these. I saved more than I thought I did. Gee, dang it. Okay, I'm about to figure this out. Crap. Okay, I just gotta log into my Instagram on the other thing. I'll just react to YouTube videos since that's way easier, and I have one. Yeah, so those aren't saved. Switch accounts, log into existing account. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, I'm going to go to YouTube. There's stuff I want to react to on YouTube. Who is here? Who are you people? Who are you people? And where is... Oh, I have a bunch of stuff saved. Oh, okay. I got one. This is what I'm going to do.
Pretty cool, all the way into a potential career, because that's what I'm doing right now. In April of 2023, I graduated with a degree in architectural engineering.
Okay, so the audio is coming through good. Can I green screen myself? Do I want to green screen myself? Yo, bricks. What can I put behind me? My garden, smaller image. Okay, whatever. I don't need to do this. Okay, no virtual backgrounds. I'm in this corner. It can look like that. Oh, Medenagan. Are you the one that I was talking to earlier? I'm sorry, you left a comment right when I left about not being a English as a first language. I think was that you? If so, that's yeah. That episode with Stone Age Herbalist was very dense. It was a lot of big words and a lot of anthropology jargon. Um, yeah, where are you from then, if you don't mind sharing? I've noticed a few listeners from different places on the thing. A few that surprised me. France. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I love the Marquis de Lafayette and Montesquieu and who else do I love from France? Oh yeah, Charles Martel, Charlemagne, um, Vercingetorix, if he counts. I don't think he counts. Whatever. France is cool. Thanks for listening, man. I'm glad you're over here. Okay. The Cathare heresy. I don't, but like at this in the south, what's that? Aquitaine? Is that southwest over by Navarre? In Navarre or Basque Country, I don't know what you guys call it in France. Cathar heresy. Close to Spain, right? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I haven't heard of this, but that's cool. Sweet. All right. Well, this was a video. I'm gonna be like trying out some. I'm gonna be trying out some frickin' reaction content on this. Throw that on theater mode. That'll do it. Okay, cool. Sweet. Yeah, if you're in France, what is it that appeals about my podcast to you? I guess in the past it was very North American centric. Like early on, I was doing a lot more stuff with like talking about the modern day, so it was very much like made for Americans and Canadians. But I kind of moved away from that. Some of my early episodes are like that, but now I guess it makes sense for people from other countries as well. Let's see. I want to make this a little bit bigger. That'll do. And then when how do I switch that? Oh, no. Okay, Okay, we're gonna watch this video. Reason is that this guy talks about the cultural influence on of Minecraft on Gen Z, and I watched most of this video a while ago, and I really liked it. So I wanted to talk about it. And I don't really know how to make reaction content, but a lot of what I do is very much about the perspective that I bring. So I think it's a good way to get some bang for my buck, I guess. So let's watch this frickin' video. Yeah, you're entirely right. Not a lot of people do, and that's why my niche is so well. I actually I landed on a couple of great shows. I don't know where you found me from, whether you found me on YouTube. I'd love to know whether it was Stone Age Herbalist or wherever. But yeah, that's kind of what I realized, especially because I was in university for anthropology, and it's just not a lot of people. Yeah, I hypocrite. Okay, great, yeah. I landed a couple of good shows recently, and the podcast is kind of doubled in like a month, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna start this now.
So when I think of Minecraft,
not good.
I don't think of survival. I mean, most of you might. I mean, if you're following the channel, you probably don't, because my channel is mainly creative. But I want to talk about the creative side of the game today and how it can bring you from a kid that just likes Minecraft, you think it's pretty cool, all the way into a potential career, because that's what I'm doing right now. In April of 2023, I graduated with a degree in architectural engineering, not architecture, architectural engineering, it's different, but it all stemmed from when I bought an iPod when I was 12 years old. And the only reason I wanted this iPod Touch is so I could download Minecraft Pocket Edition. And then eventually I'm like, it'd be pretty cool to make a city. So I did that, and I built one city, I built two cities, I built 3 cities, I built airports. They were complete garbage, but I was a kid, I was having fun, I was getting my creative energy out somehow, because paper and pen, not really my thing. I did enjoy creating and drawing on paper sometimes, but I felt that 2D wasn't enough for my brain, and just being able to have that 3D aspect of your creativity just brought it to an entirely.
Okay, I mean, the guy's a nerd. This guy's a huge nerd. That's okay, but he's a nerd. And honestly, like, back in the day, nobody would have ever thought that you could turn this into a career, but whatever.
New level. Now, I used my iPod Touch pretty much every day for about 2.5, maybe 3 years. And once I got into high school, I think I was in grade 9. So I bought my first desktop. I think it was $450, and it came with a keyboard. So it was the absolute cheapest computer that money could buy. But I bought it because, I mean, I watched Minecraft YouTube videos. I watched Corellis. I watched all these YouTubers that were building these really cool things, and they were all on the computer. They were all on Java Edition, and I was on Pocket Edition. And I'm like, well, if I get onto Java, then I can have all these extra tools. The worlds are infinite, and you can go on multiplayer and then work with all these other people. And since you had that community, you could collaborate with people, and then the projects became more and more complex. Now, this is about when I'm 14, 15 years old, and something that I noticed is that you're building a better world. So at the time, I was...
Dude, that's so crazy. Like, he's building just with Minecraft bricks, and he's like, oh, this has, like, serious significance. But that's the thing. Like, you spend so much of your time doing something, you inevitably like do more of it, and it inevitably like changes the way you think about things. I don't think it's all that surprising. Crap, sorry, I can't pause that. Okay. Yeah, like it will affect the way that you view the world. It will. Sorry, I brought up my Twitter. I'm trying to like monitor the different streams. This is the first time I streamed all these different ones. Oh, there are people watching on Rumble too. That's crazy. I didn't realize that. I just made that. Sweet. All right. Well, what's up, Rumble? That's cool. Okay. Back to this video. Cleveland. That's my edit word.
Still, of course, living with my parents. I grew up in the suburbs of New Brunswick, which for those of you that don't know, that is a province on the east coast of Canada. But living in the suburbs of New Brunswick, it was not very walkable, but compared to a big city where you can go out, you can walk to a grocery store, you can go to a cafe and then walk back home within, I don't know, a 15-minute walk. that wasn't a thing. But as I continued to build, I sort of noticed that I was creating an ideal world. Of course, I was replicating a lot of things that I saw around me and places that I did visit. But at the time, to me, ideal meant more of a walkable city, even though I didn't really realize it at the time. And as I continued to build, I used references like Google Maps and all these pictures and all these videos on YouTube, you know, all those walking tours, things like that, or just whatever you can find of places that you can't afford to or don't have time to visit, but you want to experience it. So using those real life references, I started to take bits and pieces and put them together and mesh them into what I was building to create this ideal world, if you will. And it sort of helps you realize what your built environment could be and what you're missing. Now, as I got older, about 16, 17 years old, I'm still in high school, grade 11, grade 12. I'm starting to realize that it's...
Wait, he just said like 15 or 16, so he was he was like less than 15 or 16 years old when he was thinking about how his Minecraft worlds and how they worked better than the modern world and what's around him. So this dude's like 13, 14 years old, and he's looking at like the city or the town that he lives in, and he's like, I could do this better. It's the kind of guy we need. That's awesome. That's really cool.
It's architecture that I like. Of course, you can kind of tell when you're 14, 15, but once you get to 16, 17, you're like, okay, I gotta go to college. I gotta go to university. I'm gonna have to have a career, make money so I don't be homeless. So you start thinking, okay, well, what do I like? So for me, it was architecture and urban planning. But the university that I was planning to go to, they didn't have anything like that. And the only place in the Maritimes that had anything related to architecture or urban planning was Dalhousie University in Halifax. But to get into that program, you...
What? Hold up. This guy is living in the Maritime provinces of Canada, which is like, like, I'm from New England. The Maritime provinces are like Canadian New England, but that means that they're like farther north. They're even colder than New England, and he wants to stay in the Maritime provinces. Good for him, man. But that is, I wouldn't. But okay, whatever.
You need to complete 2 years of any degree, and then you switch in for your third and fourth year. So it doesn't really matter what you do. But I wanted to do something related to buildings, and I knew I wanted to stay where I was. So I chose to go into civil engineering. Makes sense. It's related to buildings. So that's what I did. In my first year, I went into civil engineering. But about halfway through, after looking through all the courses that I would be completing to get this degree, I realized it's not exactly what I want to do. So I started thinking, I'm like, okay, do I do 2 years of civil engineering and then transfer to this program in Halifax? Or do I transfer universities? So I started looking online to see if I could transfer into an architecture program at a different university. And I ended up applying to the architecture design, architecture urban planning, and architectural engineering, which is not architecture. Now I'm about 18, like 19 at this point, and I really wanted to get into architecture design because that's architecture. You design the buildings. But unfortunately, I didn't get in. Now, to get into architecture programs, you need a portfolio, which typically consists of drawings, your sketches, and I knew I was really creative, and I know that I'm really good at designing buildings, at least for my age. But the only medium I had that I was really good at was Minecraft. And I really struggled with the question of, do I use Minecraft in my portfolio for my application to this professional university program? And ultimately, I didn't. I made a portfolio that was really subpar with all my drawings, and my application got denied. And the reason I didn't use Minecraft to apply in my portfolio, because I felt like it was an insult to the profession. It's a video game. It's a kid's video game, or so I thought. And looking back, I regret not using Minecraft, because I think now I would have gotten in. But I didn't do it because it's seen as a kid's game. So instead of...
I think that if he had used the Minecraft for his like applying in for the architecture thing, he definitely would have got in, because they'd be like, oh yeah, we can use the numbers because this kid's autistic, and we can use the numbers on that.
Instead of getting into the architecture design program, I got into architectural engineering, which is basically the same thing as building engineering, but there's more of the heritage conservation side of it. And there's a lot of structural elements involved as well. So I packed up my things. I moved to Ottawa to go to Carleton University in this architectural engineering degree. And I moved into a room where I shared this room with one person to start, and then they moved out, and then another person came in. But I didn't play Minecraft at all for about 8 months. I maybe opened it a couple times, but I never built consistently. I was sharing a room, and I mean, they can like see my screen and everything. And I was afraid of being judged, which is really stupid now that I think about it, because that's the thing that I loved the most. That was my creative outlet. So why would I let any sort of fear of judgment block me from that? Now, after those 8 months, I ended up moving into another apartment where I had my own room, which was great. And I started getting back into Minecraft because I knew nobody was watching. And I continued to build. I continued to create cities. I continued to create all these really intricate designs. And as I progressed through my degree, I was learning all these things about buildings that I didn't know before, of course. If I did, why would I be at university? But I took all these things and I applied them into my Minecraft builds, which made them more realistic, more complex. But I was still having this element of creativity where I had these really wild designs, but I made them grounded. And that's really when my Minecraft builds took off and started to go to another level. And at this point, I was an administrator, staff member, whatever you want to call me, on the current creative server that I play on, Cubes. And I like to think I'm sort of a leader in that community, although I can't really be the judge of that, but you guys can. And I noticed that I was able to answer more and more technical questions or even just general design questions with certainty. So,
dude, that is so cool. Like this, he used like what he learned in university to get better at this video game. Like, you know, there's lots of video games that have a lot of like value to them. I love video games. I don't play them as much as I used to. But damn, that is awesome that he brought that in and brought in that creativity. And also like, you know, I anybody who follows me on Twitter or on YouTube and sees what I post, like, you know that I love the traditional architecture stuff, and like bringing that in, like being able to bring that in, that is so awesome.
COVID hit.
And freaking like that's Minecraft is one way that traditional architecture even would get more, you know, it would get more important, more prominence in the culture. I think that's a great thing.
I was doing my co-op internship. I was working for the government doing project management, and I wasn't used to having so much free time because I wasn't taking any classes. I was just working full time. So I thought, okay, what do I do with my free time? And I had a lot of people asking me very similar questions about Minecraft, about how to build and design cities. So I thought, okay, well, instead of typing out multiple paragraphs each time to answer these questions, why don't I just start making videos? So that's what I did. I made a couple videos, less so answering questions, but more making guides on how my creative process works and where I pull information from to make cities. But I'm linking Minecraft and real life because real life is my inspiration. But back in the day when I was using Pocket Edition, other people building in Minecraft was my only inspiration. You get older, 14, 15, you start to introduce real life. Oh, okay, well, they're starting to come together a little bit now. And now I'm at the point where I feel like it's my responsibility to take things that I've learned and my inspirations, put them into these videos for you so that maybe you can get inspired. Now, by looking at my YouTube analytics, I know that a lot of you aren't in the typical Minecraft demographic. It's marketed towards kids, it's marketed towards the younger audience, but a lot of yourselves are my age, roughly, and you might not have any Minecraft content on YouTube that you enjoy watching because it's all kind of big and in your face. I'm not a big fan of it. I do enjoy some content, but most of it I really don't. But that's just me. And I'm assuming if I think that way, a lot of you might also think that way. So that's why I try and make my content different. That's why I try and gear it towards the more realism side. But I also see the trend of marketing Minecraft towards kids in Minecraft Education Edition. It makes sense. It's very easy to run on, say, Chromebooks or any sort of lower end device that kids could have access to because it's cheaper. And I see all these courses and guides or whatnot that Mojang or Microsoft are creating on mostly Bedrock Edition, I think. Like there's Marketplace, I'm not super familiar with it. But after being through this journey with Minecraft, I think there's so much more that could be done with Minecraft Education Edition, with Bedrock Edition, but not just taking the simple concepts of this is a building, this is a city, you should have trees in your city. Yeah, we know. I'm talking about the more in-depth structural systems. You have your shear walls, you have your beams, you have your columns, you have green building design systems, you have green roofs, you have skylights, windows. The orientation of the building matters. The site location matters, your water runoff, everything. I really think Minecraft could be applied at a much higher level than it currently is. So maybe that's something I'll do. Maybe I'll reach out to Microsoft. I do have contacts there. I haven't thought too hard about this yet. The idea just popped into my head actually a couple minutes ago. But even related to the higher level of education and Minecraft, last year I actually used Minecraft to get a preliminary design for our 4th year design project. I'm talking preliminary layouts.
Dude, that is insane. He actually like used Minecraft to really design things. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm trying to remember. Like, I thought there was more
style.
I thought there was more cultural stuff for me to talk about here. I'll actually just. It's 3 minutes. I'll finish it. Maybe there's something.
Orientation and anything related to green building design, all your high performance building aspects. And this was about 2 years into making YouTube videos, so I felt pretty confident that I wouldn't be met with, oh, that's childish, because I was participating in entrepreneurship events. I was part of different accelerators just to learn, the business behind YouTube. And my group members, they loved it. They thought it was really cool. So since applying to the architecture program going into my 2nd year of university, where I thought it was childish to do that, I've changed my mind. And I really think that people in the profession think it's really cool now that I've talked to a lot of them. Minecraft is a very accessible tool. It's 3D, so it's not just 2D, it's an entire other dimension. There is an infinite amount of space. There's a lot more blocks now. You have multiplayer so you can collaborate, and you have all these social media platforms that you can share your creations on and get feedback. So I don't think Minecraft's going anywhere anytime soon. And I think the creative side of the game is going to grow a lot over the next few years. And I'm going to make sure that happens because people love it. They think it's really cool. And anybody who doesn't, well, they suck. And building in Minecraft can bring you way further than you ever think is possible. I was 12 years old. I had my iPod Touch. I was building anything under the sun. As I grew up, I continued to build cities, different buildings. I used Google Maps and Google Street View to create these really intricate buildings based on buildings I found in downtown Vancouver. And it inspired me to go into my architectural engineering degree, even though I wanted to do architecture. But I still enjoyed my degree, so win-win, I guess. And now that I've recently graduated, I just moved to Vancouver, and I live in downtown Vancouver, and I like to go for walks quite frequently. And I'll turn a corner, and I'll see a skyscraper, and I won't clue in for a minute or two. And then I'll think, I built that 10 years ago. I was standing right there on Google Street View, looking at my computer monitor, looking up at this building, someplace that I've never been before. And I made this building, this sort of rendition, taking the styles, but making it my own. And now, because of that, I get to experience it every day. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you're probably thinking, okay, why did I choose this video to put?
Dude, what the hell? This guy seriously did that? That's crazy. He... Did you, wait, like he designed the building in Minecraft that is then he's seen in the physical world. That's some, yeah, we live in a simulation. That is amazing.
My face in because I've never really done that before. I think it's important that as I try to continue to grow the creative side of the game and to show people what's possible by just starting by playing Minecraft, it's nice to have a face behind it so that I'm serious about it. I'm taking a risk because I'm putting my face on the internet, which I don't really want to do, but I think it's important that I do anyway, because I truly believe that Minecraft is going to create the next generation of architects and engineers who are going to shape this world. And if I can help to be a part of that, whether it's just providing some inspiration or showing you what you can do in a career, I think it would be really beneficial to this world. I'm working on a video series that shows my experiences throughout my degree in architectural engineering. And the idea is to show you the parts of it that I liked, that I didn't like, and what you can expect from a degree similar to mine. And there's definitely an overlap between a pure architecture program and architectural engineering. the technical side for the most part. But this video series will talk about my experiences in this degree, and hopefully what you'll get out of it is maybe a decision on whether or not you'll like the degree as well. It's not out yet. I'm still producing it. It's going to take a very long time to make. But if you would like to be notified when it does come out, sign up for my email list in the description. My name is Matt. I have a degree in architectural engineering, and you're watching Outline.
Okay, so so Meta Nagan, I'm probably pronouncing your username wrong, but whatever that is, you brought up this French anthropologist, Napoleon Chagnon. I think that's an anglicization of his name, right? But this is a guy who did I just get rid of the article? I'm sorry. Pull this article back up. So this is a guy who worked with the Yanomamo. Oh, is he American? Oh, I'm sorry. No, he's an American. I didn't mean that he was really French. There is a French anthropologist who did some work on the Yanomamo, but he did it in he did it in the context of like diffusion of family groups. So yes, Napoleon Chagnon, he is a American anthropologist of French descent. So yeah, University of Missouri. Super American. Okay. Yeah, he's not French. He just has a anglicized French last name. Okay. So he is... Yeah, I was thinking about this other guy. But yeah, so let me pull up the article I was looking at before. I haven't heard about this in a few years, but I do remember this from a while ago. I'm just going to present this article. All right, so this is Napoleon Chagnon, a cultural anthropologist whose studies of the indigenous Yanomamo, it's said differently, of the Amazon rainforest made them famous, but whose methods provoked intense disputes amongst other anthropologists, died on September 21st. So this is about him. In his paper, Life Histories, Blood, Revenge, and Warfare in a Tribal Population, published in 1988, Dr. Chagnon, though his surname is French, his family used a name, whatever. Sorry, I should have. I just pulled this article up. So he collected data over decades, and he was in there. He was like really back in, because the Yanomami, they live deep in the Amazon rainforest. So they've been contacted for a long time, but they have like access to some, and they did even then. This is like the 70s and 80s. They had access to better weapons. You know what I mean? They had like access to some modern weapons. I think eventually they got shotguns and stuff, but they had a lot of machetes. And his data showed that 44% of Yanomami men over 25 years old had participated in killing someone, and that 25% of Yanomami men were killed by other Yanomami men. And that men who killed were more highly esteemed and had more wives and children than men who did not. So, I mean, and the controversy is essentially that this wasn't true, that how could these people who are in this state of nature do this? They're living in this... There's this view of native peoples in a lot of the world, especially coming out of post-World War II anthropological ideas, that it's this noble savage idea. It's the idea that they are peaceful people, that there is peace amongst them, that they might even be Marxist. I think that in some of Marx's writings, he described hunter-gatherers and basic people as very peaceful and living in a state of kind of communism. And while certain traits of certain people could be called communist in a way. It's really a misunderstanding. I spoke about this recently with Stone Age Herbalist because what we were talking about was how amongst the Khoisan people, these are people who live in southern Africa, they are hunter-gatherers that hunt and gather food, that they do share their food when they kill a giraffe. They have a big hunt, they kill a giraffe, they share the meat. So they share all of that meat with even other villages because there's so much meat. And that's not necessarily like, that's not them being great. That's not them being just magnanimous, good people. That is them, that just makes sense because the meat's going to go bad. And so it makes it very practical to share because you can, you keep those kinship bonds. In a lot of world history, kinship bonds, what was I going to say? Sorry. The kinship bonds are very important. Okay. And a lot of trade in the past, not like modern capitalism, not like for the last 500 years, but a lot of trade in the past, even in Europe, Asia, all different places, trade was as much about building relationships. It was much about just having a transaction with someone else as it was actually getting goods that you wanted. And that's not always true, but there are a lot of cases of this. So the noble savage mythos. Yeah, so it means different things at different times. It means different things at different times. I agree with him as well. I mean, it seems like he did good research. He kept the research and he posted it, and people were just not happy with the result. But they didn't have any credible attacks on his methodology or what he had done. And to be honest, like if you have this view, this Marxist view, which I do not, but if you have this Marxist view of these people as being just basic human beings that are in this state of early communism, it's something that's good. It's not something that's bad. They're not going to be violent. People assume that they're not violent. So if you produce research that conflicts with that idea that they have, which is like they have an ecclesiastical attraction to that idea, they're not willing to give it up, then they are they're not going to listen to you when you tell them that they're violent. But these people are living in a state of nature. They're living in a place where there hasn't been over time a lowering of the violence. So it just makes sense that they would kill them. They would kill each other a lot. And it's not in every case. I mean, there's very different groups of indigenous people. Indigenous people are the most diverse group of people in the world because for many times they didn't have these influences, these globalist influences that have, really, really there's been a divergence of culture in the West. So like there are specific differences even within states and regions in the US. Like I live in New England and I'm very different and I live in a different world than somebody who lives in Arizona, but a lot of things that we do are the same. We're on the same internet. We might watch the same shows. Whereas 1,000 years ago, a Paleo-Indian, 2,000 years ago, a Paleo-Indian living in Connecticut is going to have very little to do with a Paleo-Indian living in Arizona. So there's more diversity, and these people happen to be more violent. And he even says in the article that men who killed were more highly esteemed and had more wives and children than men who did not. So that's a clear incentive structure that would point men to kill other men. And when you live in a society where you gain status through direct violence, especially in a society where possibly the influence of Western culture, of people coming in there with new technology that's more efficient at killing, it's possible that there was less killing back in the day before, but the weapons made it easier and made it more common, and there was a kind of an arms race. That type of thing happens. It's happened, you can even look at that, in Europe. It's not like early Europe. This isn't a thing that's like just something that non-white people do. And when you see how he was attacked, it is cancel culture before it existed. Yeah, I totally agree, man. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's just, you can't just get, like the reason that I have a show, right? Like the reason that people watch Illegitimate Scholar is because the anthropology, well, this is my perception, so tell me if it's wrong, but the anthropology, like how I do anthropology, is I take it from a different perspective than most of the people that do it, because most of the people that do it, they're like over 90% liberal. They're mostly, like in America, they're liberal. They're heavily liberal. So there's people come into that with certain ideas about people come into the field and they leave the field and they are in the field with certain ideas about politics, and those affect the field. And that's why I can talk about stuff. And that's why he could be prominent but also be attacked. And that's why I don't do this in a university. But, you know, I have way more people watch my show than a college professor. Even one that's, you know, going out and has one of those 1,000 level, 100 level classes, those early classes. Yeah, so, you know, it's the thing. This is one of those examples. Thank you for sharing this, for reminding me about this, because this is a great example for what I do. Because it's a clear time. They don't attack his methodology or anything. It's wild, man. It's like you gotta say something. You gotta have a real attack. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to pull another video up. Okay, so I got this video that I saved from a little while ago that's called "What Our Cities Are Missing." Feel free. I might not watch this whole video, but feel free to give me a video you want me to look at, and I will. I'm just gonna start this in just a second. I'm just gonna check the different streams. So there's people watching on Rumble, but no one's commenting. You know, if you're on Rumble, let me know. Like, can you just, maybe they're fake. Probably just bots. Whatever. That's all right. What's monetization on Rumble mean? Or how does it work? Why am I doing that right now? I shouldn't be. Okay, sorry. Just checking Twitter one time. Feel free to change any or put up anything you want. Let me know. I will watch whatever you want me to. As long as it's on YouTube, don't be sending me any gay porn or anything. I'm not into that. Can't put it up on the YouTubes. I don't know about Rumble. Okay, let's watch this. So this is some African dude. I don't know where he's from. Well, he sounds African. He's probably like African American, but not in a normal way. I can't tell if it's a full-on African accent or if it's a African accent mixed with an American accent.
Humans are social animals.
Yes.
But it seems as though many of us have lost that sense of community.
Also, yes.
Extended family households and tight-knit neighborhoods have become less prevalent as the demands of work suck our time and energy and scatter people across distances that make it difficult to maintain and establish deep-rooted bonds with others.
Yep.
Many of us find ourselves in a truly bizarre situation when measured against the grand scale of human history. We are overwhelmingly surrounded by strangers, not community.
Sucks, man.
Instead, the face-to-face intimacy of real-life communities that we've evolved to navigate and thrive within has been replaced by the internet, but it is a shallow substitute. On the surface, the digital frontier appears to offer immense possibilities, enabling us to connect with people from diverse backgrounds and distant corners of the world through shared interests and passions. But beneath the surface lies its disappointing reality. The virtual often fails to satiate our need for genuine human interaction, and it is just as potent at atomizing us as well. We face an epidemic of loneliness and isolation, disconnected from the shared humanity that defines real-life communities. In his iconic work, The Great Good Place, published in 1989, American sociologist Ray Oldenburg introduces a rather compelling concept for a healthy existence: the need for balance among three realms: the home, the workplace, and the realm of third places, inclusive social spaces that provide anchors for community life and facilitate meaningful interactions.
Yeah, that'd probably be
Today,
nice.
we will unravel the defining characteristics of a third place, tap into its historical significance and evolution, and explore how we can build and nurture the enduring allure of these social sanctuaries in the modern world. Typically, people refer to cafes, pubs, stoops, and parks when thinking of examples of third place.
So these types of things, cafes, pubs, stoops, parks, like that's really like that's a huge deal. Like these are the types of places that a lot of social movements are created in. Like the United States was famously a lot of the discussions that led to the American Revolution and the American Revolutionary War. They came out of conversations that were being had in pubs. I mean, this is something that was understood by leaders for a long time. The Ottoman Empire specifically banned coffee. They banned coffee cafes. They banned cafes that served coffee because not because of the caffeine, but because of the effect on the social fabric and the effect on people's perception of the empire itself was affected based on their conversations. So these are important, and the fact that like in a lot of places in the West, there's like you can't just be somewhere and exist without spending money. I mean, it's just capitalism all the freaking time. It's just usury. But you know, it's and not that obviously you have to spend money at cafes and pubs, but you know, parks. This is one thing. You know, I talk crap about Europe all the time, but parks in Europe, like they're public parks, you can just go and hang out. Those are much more common than in the U.S. and they're places that are a lot like you can drink at a park in Europe. If you try to drink in a park in the U.S., you're like some white lady is going to start screaming at you. Some white liberal lady probably screaming at you and telling you about how, oh my God, you're like, she's going to act like you're feeding her baby beer for real. Okay, but yeah, let's go.
But of course, not every cafe, pub, stoop, or park captures the magic of a third place. In fact, Oldenburg identifies 8 primary characteristics that contribute to the distinct appeal of these truly communal spaces and the impact they have on the lives of those who frequent them. But furthermore, he insists that his strict characterization eliminates the majority of establishments, even if they fit some of the characteristics. Let's get into what they are now. For one, a third place lies on neutral ground. No one is expected to play host for the others, no one is obligated to be there, and people are comfortable and free to come and go as they please. We need spaces where people can just be, where opportunities can exist for fraternization in a safe public setting that can't be found in the privacy of the home or the professional boundary of the workplace. A space where a variety of relationships can blossom, including those that don't go any deeper than friendly public encounters. Secondly, the third place is a leveling place. It requires no formal criteria for membership, it places no emphasis on one's social status, and it provides the possibility for people of a variety of backgrounds and experiences to associate on the merits of their personality alone. Within third places, people can find friendships with those whom under other circumstances they might never cross paths.
Oh, how nice is
The
that?
third characteristic of the third place is that it is a place in which conversation is meant to be the main activity.
Important.
It doesn't have to be the only activity. For example, card games or pool or dominoes make for an excellent social lubricant. But the space should be comfortable enough to facilitate pleasurable, light-hearted, and entertaining conversation. Now, it's not difficult to create a space that can facilitate good conversation, but it's also easy to ruin the flow of good conversation. Even the most soothing music, if played too loudly, can make conversation too difficult to be worth it. And not to sound like a boomer, but what Ray Oldenburg calls mechanical or electronic gadgetry can also really kill good vibes. And of course, folks who try to dominate the discourse with their egos can be quite ruinous to the social energy that a good third place tries to foster. There's an art to conversation, and it really boils down to being attentive and considerate. Fourthly, third places need to be open and readily accessible. That means being accessible in the sense of being in a convenient location and open whenever the demons of loneliness or boredom strike, or when the pressures and frustrations of the day call for relaxation amid good company. In other words, third places are available when people need them to be. Next, third places are given their appeal by their regulars, who help set the mood of the space and provide a welcoming environment for newcomers.
Okay.
Every regular was once a newcomer.
Do you guys want to
and the
keep watching this one, or
acceptance
do you
of
want me to switch to
newcomers
something
is
else? 'Cause I'm not
essential to
sure.
the sustained vitality of the
Let me know
third place.
in the comments.
However,
Please,
as Oldenburg
review,
notes,
I
there's an
appreciate.
order of welcome to third places. The most welcomed is the returning prodigal, who was away for a while but has now returned to catch up with the other regulars. Next is the regular whose arrival was expected, followed by the regulars who bring a stranger, followed by a pair of strangers, and lastly, the lone stranger, who faces the most difficult though not impossible task of building trust in order to endear themselves to the regulars of the space. Poor little mouse, all alone.
Yo, what? Yeah, no, but I mean, it's a good point. This is human interaction that I haven't really thought about before.
But I'll let you in a little secret. Third places can seem a lot more closed off to newcomers than they might actually be. The mouse may not have to be alone after all. Sixth, third places keep a low profile. They're not excessive, extravagant, pretentious, or overly fancy.
Nice.
They're not usually openly advertised, and they tend to be older places. They're usually less inclined to the strictly profit-driven pursuit of a volume of transient customers with high turnover. They're rather modest, both in their design and the apparel of their regulars. In fact, third places often have a quote-unquote seedy atmosphere meant to repel the intrusions of...
Yo, I mean, this is like, love that. Love that. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Because I like to hang out at a frickin' at a dive bar. But that's what, like a real dive bar, like a townie bar, not like a fake hipster dive bar. And like that's what it is. It's really like that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna read the comments for a second. Cleveland. Coming back to Napoleon, Matthew Blackwell made a good article for Quillette, and also another about Margaret Mead, who align with your views about her. Yeah, who's Matthew Blackwell? Should I know that guy? Is he a dude that I should be talking to? Saw you on Pete Quinones' show, subscribed. I have a BS in anthropology and also realized how much liberal bias crap was in my education. Hell yeah, brother. Glad to have you. Thanks for being here. And the idea seems really nice. Having a face-to-face community sounds better than an online one. Yeah, I know, man. I mean, it really is. I spent the last 2 weeks interviewing people up and down the coast of Florida and a couple other places, and like that's their community. They were Parrot Heads, Jimmy Buffett fans. That's where I got this hat. And then in Key West, I just got back yesterday, and that's that shit's important, man. It's everything to people. All right, let's keep going.
Of one-time visitors. They're not meant to be tourist traps. Seventh, okay. And we're almost done, third places have a playful mood. People go to third places for the banter and the laughter, not tension and hostility. So that's what the space is set up to encourage. And lastly, number 8, third places are meant to be a home away from home, offering a sense of intimacy, regeneration, and community that puts people at ease in a warm and friendly atmosphere. To summarize, third places exist on neutral ground, function as equalizers of social status, provide an environment where conversations are at the center, keep a low profile, are open and accommodating, have an essence shaped by their regulars, characterized by playfulness and a sense of home away from home. With all these characteristics in mind, third places clearly offer a range of benefits that can delight and sustain both the individual, whose sociable and conversational skills are greatly enhanced by the interactions with the space, and the community, which thrives with the genuine connection, shared experiences, and sense of belonging fostered within third places. Third places can be rewarding places to attend because they introduce novelty into our lives, which is sorely lacking under the drudgerous working and living conditions of modern-day capitalism. With a diverse population, free-flowing structure, and fluid attendance, third places offer a novel and enriching source of social stimulation that exists almost in a world of its own. Our interactions with third places can give us a sense of perspective as well, in a world that can be otherwise alienating and disheartening to our emotional well-being, because they offer a therapy of association and laughter. In fact, we can describe third places as a spiritual tonic, in the Drake sense, capable of uplifting our spirits from our daily frustrations and giving us the freedom to explore the creative and expressive aspects of our personalities. Crucially, and finally, third places facilitate the benefits of what Uhlenberg calls friends by the set. Third places provide convenient gathering spaces for socializing in numbers and offer.
So this is really, really important. It's like when there's a location or there's a shared identity that people can trust that the other person, even if they don't know them, they have something shared with them. This is something that you find in a lot of different communities, and why, like, for that to be like, you know what I'm saying? Freaking, gosh darn it, like, it, it's important to like. Because then you're around other people that are strangers, but they're not really strangers because you have this common thing with them. And in the context of doing this common thing, and it could be the military even, like you have these shared characteristics. Yeah.
For routine and reliable interactions with a broad array of people, both casual and intimate, without the burden of having to schedule meetups. With all the benefits that third places bring to individuals, groups, and communities, it's no surprise then that historically, third places have been a powerful force in shaping the course of revolutions and cultural movements. During the American Revolution, the tavern emerged as a vital hub for political discourse, where patriots, politicians, and ordinary plebeians would gather to discuss grievances against British rule, plan resistance strategies, and spread propaganda, ultimately leading to the independence of the United States of America. Similarly, in the tumultuous times of the French Revolution, the café was a crucial meeting place for the revolutionary intelligentsia and common people alike, where radical ideas were passionately debated and disseminated to inspire the revolutionary rise of the French Republic. During the Enlightenment, coffee houses in London assumed a central role in fostering the intellectual and cultural transformation of society as scholars, scientists, writers, and artists met and exchanged ideas on science, philosophy, politics, and literature. During the Harlem Renaissance, theaters, churches, jazz cafes, and more all served as vital havens for African-American musicians, writers, and intellectuals that sought to develop and celebrate their cultural identity. In each of these historical movements, third places played a transformative role in fostering social cohesion, nurturing intellectual discourse, and giving rise.
Yeah, social cohesion. Social cohesion. We don't have that shit. We don't have that shit at all, especially in America and Canada. We're really screwed over here in North America. We need help.
To revolutionary ideas and movements that shaped the course of history. Unfortunately, third places kind of fell off. I've been describing the characteristics and benefits and historical potency of these spaces, but I've only gotten small tastes of some of these spaces myself, and for a lot of people, besides perhaps the approximate experience of a college common room, third places are a distant cultural memory, not a lived experience. So what's up with that? What happened to third places? According to Oldenburg, the suburbs are primarily to blame for this unfortunate development. Suburbs neglect public spaces in favor of large.
This video is 30 minutes long. I think it's probably better to do something a little bit shorter. I hope that's okay. Tell me right now in the comments if you really want to watch the rest of this, but I would like to go to something a little bit shorter. Yeah, this one. We're going to talk about mammoth clones. Where are the mammoth clones? Cleveland, beginning of the mammoth clone one. Because I think that's super weird. And I watched this video. I put it in this folder. Should probably take notes somehow. I'm learning this process, man. We're just out here doing it. So I don't... Gosh, there's people on Discord talking about Moloch right now. I gotta mute this. I'm gonna mute this. 1 second. I don't know how to mute this. That's why it's not muted. Windows settings. crap. Gee, dang it. Why won't you mute? Okay, I guess I'm just going to log out. Bottom left for Discord. Is it like in the user settings thing? Where is it in? After that, app settings, game overlay, Windows settings. No. Notifications. There's a freaking whole thing. Okay. There's just so many sections. Okay. Okay, I turned off notifications. Thank you. Mammoths.
When I was a young child, I was watching a show on Discovery Kids where a scientist would answer questions that kids sent in. I don't remember the exact question, but some kid asked about a mammoth found preserved in ice. And the scientist guy, I think he was a scientist, he was wearing a lab coat, talked about cloning a mammoth and how in a few years we might have mammoth clones.
Probably not.
Well, it's been nearly 20 years, and
I love this meme.
And it's not like there was one offhand mention in the early 2000s followed by radio silence. I feel like the idea of cloning mammoths has always been around, and it comes up every few years. So my question is, what is the holdup here?
Yeah.
Where are the mammoth clones? Yeah, this is what we want. Now, there are more than just a few species of mammoth. Research is constantly updating, but right now it seems like there are about 10 recognized species. They came in a variety of sizes, with the smallest being the dwarf mammoth, Mammuthus creticus, that was from the Greek island of Crete, and was 1 meter tall and weighed 300 kilos.
That's all heavy.
The largest was the steppe mammoth, that reached a height of up to 4.
I don't like when dudes with American accents use kilos. Like, I get it. If you're French or German or English, whatever, pretty much the rest of the world besides Liberia, then yeah, use kilos, okay? Actually, the English use freaking stones. That's even worse. But, like, you're American, dude. Just say pounds. That's what we use. And just so you guys know from Europe, like, the Americans that love Europe, they're insufferable liberal twats. That's what they are. They, yeah.
0.5 meters at the shoulder, with tusks extending as long as 4.9 meters, and probably weighed somewhere between 10 to 14.
Yes, kilo is fine for you because you're from France, but in the U.S., when someone just like doesn't, when the United States, when they don't use like pounds, they're just like signaling how much better than Americans they are. That's what it is. So yeah, no, I'm not. If you use kilos and you're from a country that uses kilos, that's totally cool. That's totally fine. It makes way more sense. It's better. Pounds kind of suck. Although Fahrenheit for temperature for outside, that's pretty good. But yeah, no, you use kilos and that's great. This American guy he's using kilos to tell you that he's better than you. That's what he's doing. Or not. You're probably just reading too far into it.
15 tons. Putting that into context, an African bull elephant can grow up to 3.9 meters at the shoulder and weigh up to 7 tons. Despite the closeness in size, mammoths are actually more closely related to Asian elephants than African elephants. Moreover, Asian elephants and mammoths are more closely related than Asian elephants and African elephants. It's sort of an important point as Indian elephants will need to play a role in bringing mammoths back. So how do we bring them back? There are actually a few different ways.
Don't do it.
First is actual cloning, i.e. take the egg of a female elephant, take out the nucleus and replace it with the nucleus from a woolly mammoth. And then the calf would have the genes of a woolly mammoth. Researchers at the Kyoto University of Japan did plan on doing this, but to date we haven't found a viable mammoth cell. And apparently most scientists think that a cell wouldn't survive the frozen areas where we find the best preserved mammoths. So this might not be very promising. Another method might be AI, or artificial insemination. Take an egg and combine it with a sperm cell from a frozen woolly mammoth. Then the elephant should give birth to a hybrid. If you make enough hybrids and breed them, after some generations you could get a mostly pure mammoth. Now, whether or not the embryo could survive the gestation period, which lasts 2 years, is unknown. But that's not the main problem. The big problem is that after deep freezing, sperm cells from mammals only last 15 years. So I guess that method has to be thrown out the window too. The third, and perhaps most promising method, is gene editing.
Don't do it, bro.
Some teams are working on taking DNA from frozen mammoth carcasses and
this is how you freaking get a flood. This is how you get a world flood. You're going to mess with God, and you're just going to start playing with genes, and you're going to start doing it to humans, and then soon we have man-made horrors beyond our comprehension. You guys are playing God. It's crazy. Stop it. Freaking stop. I hate it.
Replacing the elephant genes with woolly mammoth genes. The resulting animal would still be more of an elephant, but with some mammoth traits, like long hair, small ears, extra fat, and warmer blood.
Why?
Some have referred to the potential creature as a mammophant.
How about you refer to
One
it
of the big
as an
names in this
abomination?
field is
Frankenstein's
George M.
monster.
Church. He's an American geneticist, molecular engineer, and chemist. In 2015, he and his team were able to copy some woolly mammoth genes into the genome of an Asian elephant. In September 2021, Church and his team launched a startup called Colossal. They raised $15 million in funds, and their mission is to bring back the woolly mammoth. Or to make the mammophant, I guess. Now, $15 million is a lot of money, but is it enough to fund a big project like this? Well, according to Church, $15 million would likely be enough to produce an embryo. Getting to a calf will require more funds. He estimates that we could have a living specimen in a few years. Heard that before, pal. But to be more precise, he said within about 6 years. So, mark your calendars, I guess. However, so far we've been preoccupied with whether or not we could, rather than whether or not we should.
Thank you.
A few concerns have been raised in regards to bringing back a mammoth. For one, elephants and mammoths are pretty social animals, so bringing back a
Triceratops is
few,
probably better. I think
or
we don't
even
have
just
anything close
one,
to it,
could
though.
be cruel for an animal that needs to be in a group. Some feel that all the time and money and other resources should be going into protecting endangered elephants instead. We also don't know if the embryo will survive or what a hybrid calf needs to have a healthy life. Are these things being accounted for? Well, you can read more about the plans on the Colossal website, which is pretty well designed, I have to say. Going through the pages, we can find out more about the plans to bring back a mammoth, such as, like apparently they are using African elephants to eliminate extra pressure on Asian elephants. According to the website, African elephants are threatened, while Asian elephants are endangered. Aren't they both endangered? But also, African elephants are bigger, so it might be easier for one of them to deliver an embryo. But anyway, going back to whether or not we should, one of the reasons they list on the website for bringing back the mammoth is to combat climate change. Apparently, when the mammoths went extinct thousands of years ago,
Combat climate
a bunch of shrubs and plants grew over.
What are you talking about, man? You know, combat climate change by bringing this thing into the world? Are you serious? I know it's not the guy in this video. Like, I'm not saying the guy in the video, but oh my god.
What was previously grassland. If the mammoths came back, they would trample shrubs, knock over trees, and fertilize the grass. Grassland might reflect more light, and therefore keep the ground cooler. On the site, it also says the work could help save modern-day elephants from extinction. Perhaps.
I mean, this is how scientists just perpetuate. They're like, oh yeah, we got global warming, so we'll just bring the mammoth back so that it stomps on the ground and makes shrubs come back because they can go through the stomped on ground. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. That's insane. Like, okay, yeah, that might work, but that's your solution? They're like, oh yeah, we got this climate change problem, so how about we spend tens of millions of dollars trying to bring back a freaking mammoth to stop climate change? This doesn't make any sense, dude. Oh.
Perhaps the technology of de-extinction could be used to bring back more species in the future, even species that are alive today that might go extinct in a few years. Hard to say,
What?
really.
Just
I
stop
wonder
them from
how
going
many
extinct.
mammoths you need to make a serious dent in the grasslands. And also, I haven't seen this mentioned anywhere, but if the mammoths have large ivory tusks, will they need protection from poachers too? So what do you think?
I'd shoot a mammoth.
Should we do it?
Shoot a mammoth right between the eyes. Get a $30 million kill. That's crazy, man. I'll take that. Cleveland. Meta Naggin, I looked at that video, and let's just watch it. Share this tab instead. The surgery speedrunner, Tales from the Bottle. I'm gonna look at this for. I might not watch this whole video because I need to like keep it on the culture theme. I'm not sure if this one has it, but we'll see.
Robert Liston was a Scottish surgeon known for the incredible speed with which he would attempt surgery. This wasn't just a coincidence of his skill. Liston intentionally tried to complete surgeries, including amputations, as fast as possible, even asking his students to time him before he began. The speed at which he went about hacking up his victims, patients, led to some mishaps, including his credit as performing the only surgery in history to have a 300% mortality rate. Born in Scotland in 1794,
I've heard
Robert
of that
Liston
one.
was an intimidating man standing at 6'2". He was also regarded as domineering and argumentative, and he fell out with his tutor, the famed anatomist Dr. John Barclay,
Irish.
while studying in Edinburgh Medical School in 1816. This led to Liston opening up his own anatomy class and marked the start of a long career as a medical practitioner who just kind of did his own thing, in spite of the prevailing practices of the time, and one who was often at odds with his peers, frequently expressing his disapproval of surgeons he did not respect and thought to be inferior. Liston moved around from
I went to the University of Edinburgh, which is, I just looked it up. That's where that came from. I didn't graduate from the University of Edinburgh. I just did a online course, or not an online. I did a in-person study abroad course at the University of Edinburgh. And yeah, that's where that school is. That's part of the University of Edinburgh now. Cool. Yeah, love that.
position to position for a while, sometimes spurred by disagreements with more senior surgeons, until he accepted an appointment as Professor of Surgery at the newly opened University College Hospital in London. He was only 34 at the time and would remain there for the rest of his life. His standoffish personality made Robert Liston widely unpopular among his co-workers, although none could deny his skill in surgery. He would make a point of performing rapid surgery to galleries of onlookers, proclaiming, "Time me, gentlemen, time me," before operations. He would go about amputation so quickly that the flash of his knife could be missed by onlookers entirely, before he had already moved on to the bone saw, clutching the bloodied knife between his teeth to save time. Now, I'm no doctor, but I don't think a surgeon should really be putting any of their instruments in their mouth during an operation, or in any other cavity for that matter. But this was a different time, and Robert Liston actually had more consideration for hygiene than most surgeons, being one of the few to wash his hands before operating. He would also wear a fresh apron for every operation, at a time when a surgeon's bloodied apron was a sign of experience. The stiffer the apron, the prouder the surgeon. A good surgeon wouldn't need to hang up his apron because it could stand up by itself, and a true veteran would walk to work side by side with his apron. It was recorded that Robert Liston could amputate a whole leg in 2.5 minutes, and he could amputate the leg below the knee in just 30 seconds. This amazed his onlookers and earned him the nickname the fastest knife in the West End. This didn't do much to ingratiate him to his detractors though, who saw this only as a sign of his arrogance. But showmanship aside, Liston did actually have good reason to do this. In an era prior to anesthetics, speed made a huge difference both in terms of how much pain the patient would be subjected to and their chances of survival. Imagine you had to get your leg amputated without anesthetic, and some big Scottish fella says he can do it in 2.5 minutes. Well, first you should probably make sure he is indeed a doctor and not just your average Glasgow heart merchant, but if he has a medical license and it's got to be done, then let it be done quickly, right? Now, sometimes Robert Liston was a little overzealous in his speed. He once took off a patient's testicles along with their leg. If you're going to make a mistake like that, I'd rather you accidentally cut off my head, to be honest. Another story says, in a flurry of knife cuts, he lopped off an assistant's fingers as they were holding down a limb. Then,
Dude,
in
if
his
you're trying
rush
to be
to switch
fast,
instruments, he
You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, man. Come on. It's okay.
Slashed a spectator's coat. The spectator was so shocked and afraid that he'd been stabbed that they dropped dead of shock, and the patient and assistant both died of gangrene afterwards, making it the only operation to have a 300% mortality rate. This
man's putting up numbers. Putting up real numbers.
is a very popular story, and you may have even heard it before, but it may not be true, as
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna hop on another one. I love that. That's cool, but I gotta this is what I wanted to do before. I'll watch the rest of that later. I got a few of these Instagram posts that I wanted to look at, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay.
Life, Jordan.
Jordan Peterson. Oh, it's already sharing it, isn't it? Okay, let me just see if I can make this a little bit smaller.
Do we need God to make sense of life?
Absolutely not. That will do for an answer.
Okay. Do we need God to make sense of life, Jordan?
Well, God is what you use to make sense of your life, by definition. This is one of the things I learned from Jung. You have a hierarchy of values. You have to. Otherwise, you can't act, or you're painfully confused. Whatever is at the top of that hierarchy of values serves the function of God for you. Now, it may be a God that you don't believe in, or a God that you...
So this is like that idea that you are, that God, that humans are religious. And this is something that Russell Brand has said recently as well. But yeah, I mean, you are religious. You will be. You're going to be. So if you don't choose what it is, then it's going to choose you. Like that is a part of the human being. It's part of who we are, all of us.
You can't name, but it doesn't matter, because it's God for you. And what you think about God has very little impact on how God is acting within you, whatever God it is that you happen to be, let's say, following.
Do we need God to make sense of life?
Absolutely not. That will do.
So the BBC is rewriting British history again and teaching it to kids. In this video about the role of black people in British history, they preposterously claim that the Roman Emperor Septimius Severus was black. If only we knew who his parents were. Oh wait, we do. His mother's side were from an Italian patrician family, originally from the city of Tusculum, nearby to Rome. His father was Punic in origin, meaning Phoenician, and the Phoenicians were a Semitic people. So although the future emperor was born on the territory of Africa, he was not black. It's the equivalent of calling Elon Musk black, because he was also born on the territory of Africa. In fact, whilst in Britain, Severus encountered an Ethiopian soldier and demanded that he be taken out of his sight, as his dark colour was a bad omen. A strange action to take if he looked the same way. And Severus is a strange choice to claim as black, given he ordered his army into northern Britain to kill everyone, even the unborn in the womb, with the Romans' brutality and devastation being described as the G word. So the BBC is lying to kids' faces, and the British taxpayer is funding them to do it. This nonsense needs to stop, and they need to choose truth over activism. So the BBC is rewriting British history again and teaching it to kids. In this video about the role of black people...
Just give me a minute. I'm just gonna move this around. I guess I can do this later. We don't need to do that. Okay.
This white Polish game show contestant is singing in blackface and using the N-word, and it's causing a lot of backlash. Poland's version of the talent show Your Face Sounds Familiar frequently features celebrity contestants in blackface.
Okay, guys, blackface is American. It's a thing that happened in America. Other countries don't have to care about American sensibilities. And it's like, these people don't even understand that it's not American, dude. Like, it's not. It's just not the same thing. You don't, like, oh my God. You think, you have such an American worldview that you can't even understand that this only has cultural significance, racial significance in the U.S. And if you think that the Polish should care about what Americans find offensive, then for the love of God, like, just... Dude, I mean, maybe you should worry about what the Polish think is offensive then, too. Maybe, because why should the Americans be the only ones that get to dictate what everyone else thinks about? It's crazy. It's crazy, man. And if you decided to listen to what the Polish think is offensive, then you would have to live your life differently, because Polish people do not have the same views as Americans on a lot of things. Thank God. Yeah.
impersonating Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and other notable black entertainers. In that same episode, an actress darkened her skin and performed Beyonce's If I Were a Boy. Under the show's format, celebrities are randomly assigned a song to perform regardless of gender or ethnicity. The celebrity then uses costumes and makeup to make themselves look like the original artist. So, this isn't the first time the show has faced backlash over blackface. After one white actor performed Stronger by Kanye West in blackface in 2021, the show posted a statement saying it was very surprised by the backlash.
My bad, Yee. I did not mean to dead name you.
Arguing that the whole point of the show is for each star to recreate the original performance in the most precise manner while honoring the original artists. In 2021, the Czech version of the show banned its contestants from using blackface, noting that times are changing. Not everyone agreed with the change. One Czech actress said in 2020 that not changing the contestant's skin color was more insulting to the original performer as it hides part of their identity. Blackface dates back to at least the 1800s. The question is, when will it end? And by the way, the celeb impersonating Kendrick Lamar—
What a dumb question. When will it end? Never. You got Prime Minister Blackface, Justin Trudeau up in that.
What other race/ethnicities do you believe would be there to help black people in a race war?
Black American people, because the Caribbeans and the Africans, I don't see them standing up with us either.
Excuse the out of me.
The diaspora wars are already going crazy.
Whoa.
It's mad Caribbeans and African people that think that they better than black Americans as it is. So when people from other countries come here, they are already forewarned. Stay away from them black Americans. They're like this. They're like that. There are a lot that will stand up with us, but I'm not counting every single last one.
So what you're saying is there are going to be a group of West Indians who are going to look at a race war and say, I'm from Trinidad. I ain't know what's going on here. But I'm from Trinidad. I ain't know what's going on in Alabama and all them type of thing. Them fellas down there, that's good. I go on right out soldier.
Exposing secret websites that feel so illegal to know. If you go to this website, type in your travel destination, like Los Angeles to Las Vegas, this website...
I've said it before, but I have to say it again apparently. Stop mocking Americans for the way they speak. If I have to see one more comment that says, American English is stupid English, American English is simplified English, I'm going to kick off, I swear. Because let's actually play this game. Which prejudice do you want to embody? When I ask people, what do you mean by, I don't like American English, they come back with something like this. Classism, singling out dialects of American English particularly used by working class Americans.
Thank you, Irish lady.
Sexism, judging American women for using vocal crutches such as like or in conversation or using vocal fry, all of which I do, but none of which you judge me for. How about racism? 9 times out of 10 when people tell me they don't like American slang, they will give me an example that comes straight from African American English. Or just plain old xenophobia, because apparently it's okay to mock an entire country of people, as long as they're American. I just find it so annoying when British people mock American English, because you can't colonise a country and then judge them for what they did with the language that you imposed upon them.
Yeah, that's true.
And to any American friends listening, I said it before,
like
but it bears
weird-ass
repeating.
Chick.
You might not like the way you
They had
speak,
to flee away
you
from
might have
your
been taught to hate
genocide,
it,
England.
but your words sink softly into unfamiliar ears with grace and beauty.
Oh.
Keep speaking, keep using language, and don't let anyone dissuade you.
Grace and beauty. No, they don't. No, they don't. I have a standard American English. They're not going anywhere with grace and beauty. Yours is, though. You're talking real nice. I like it. Yeah.
There's no comparison between Mao and a trans activist, is there?
Well, let's see.
Why not?
Let's find out.
Because trans activists aren't killing millions of people?
The philosophy that's guiding their utterances is the same philosophy.
The consequences are...
Not yet.
You're saying that trans activists could lead to the deaths of millions of people?
No, I'm saying that the philosophy that drives their utterances is the same philosophy that already has driven us to the deaths of millions.
Okay, tell us how that philosophy is in any way comparable.
Sure, that's no problem. The first thing is that the philosophy presumes that group identity is paramount. That's the fundamental philosophy that drove the Soviet Union and Maoist China. And it's the fundamental philosophy of the left-wing activists. It's identity politics. It doesn't matter who you are as an individual. It matters who you are in terms of your group identity.
There's no comparison between Mao and a trans...
Where are we at?
Pakistan! 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 We need a Pakistani wife to make biryani every night!
Hey, I'm a white guy, but sacrifice my life for Pakistan! Pakistan, Zindabad, homie.
Pakistan! الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى الأراضي ساموا رسولا القول.
Inshallah, brothers.
Do you have any sense of what religion will be in the future of civilization?
Religion was an early attempt to answer the questions we all ask. Why are we here? Where did we come from? Nowadays, science provides better and more consistent
No, it doesn't.
answers, but people will always cling to religion because it gives comfort, and they do not trust or understand science.
Do you have any sense?
That is such BS nonsense, dude. Absolutely not. Like, science doesn't explain everything. It doesn't. It just doesn't. You have a really bleak view of the world if you think that science actually explains everything. There's not anything going on. For real. You think you get all of it? They just extended the Big Bang by like 4 times the length that it was. This is why people are so confident in their view of the world being so correct, because they believe that science gives them all the answers. And when you believe that science gives you all the answers, then you're willing to listen to the people that science puts forward. But people are not infallible. They make mistakes and they're biased. So these scientific institutions are institutions of man. They're institutions of man. So how could they be perfect? You really think they're perfect? You think that the current understanding of everything, biology, chemistry, everything that we have right now, you think that's perfectly correct? It's crazy, man. Absolutely not. It absolutely is not. It's just, did he really say that? Like, that's so, I would expect someone to be that smart to understand that, to not have the hubris to be like, oh, we know everything. No, you don't. You know that you don't know everything. You think you're Jesus, bro? You think you're Muhammad? Who are you? No. Abraham? No. No. That's okay. I pissed myself off. No, dude. No. Okay. That's how I feel about it.
You need liberals because
No, you don't.
now and then
I'm just kidding. No. I don't. Okay.
the right thing to do is to come up with something new. And you need conservatives because now and then the right thing to do is to do what everybody has always done. And the reason you need political dialogue is so that the liberals and the conservatives can continue to argue about which of those solutions is appropriate right now. You need liberals because now and then the right thing to do is to come up.
Thinking about going camping this weekend?
Nope.
Sorry, it's now racist. Thinking about going camping this weekend?
Now I'm going
Sorry,
camping.
it's now racist.
I've been making a lot of. I'm not racist. I know some of the people I talk to are racist. Some of my listeners probably are racist.
Thinking about
but, I'm
going
actually
camping
not
this
racist.
weekend?
I get it.
Sorry.
I'm not. I'm out here. Sorry, it's now racist. I forgot about that.
What the fuck is this? Sport. It's an abomination. To fork one side and the spoon as the other side. It's like fucking transgender. This is a fucking disgrace. I've seen a sport before, but I've never seen this level of degeneracy. You must have something to do with this. What the fuck is this? Sport. It's an abomination.
If there's systemic racism in this country, which we know it is.
I don't say there is. You say there is. I don't believe that.
You said that the system encouraged black women to be single mothers, correct?
I said the welfare state.
The welfare, the system. So who's in charge of the system?
It was Democrats
The financial incentives.
that passed it.
And who were Democrats? Were they black or white at that time?
At the time, majority of black people were Democrats, as the majority of black people are Democrats now.
Not the voters. Was it white people in charge of the system or black people in charge of that system that helped break down the black family?
You didn't have to go on welfare unless you voluntarily chose to go on welfare. Most black people were Democrats and they voted for these white people.
Who was in charge?
Who put them in charge?
Was Lyndon Johnson white or black?
Who put them in
Maybe
charge?
that'll help.
Lyndon Johnson was white.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I know she thinks that she really said something and that she really showed Larry, but the reality is it was the other way around. For the sake of argument, she basically admits that white liberals are the engineers of the welfare state, and then suggests that that is an example of systemic racism, which begs the question, why does the majority of black people continue to vote for and vie for the approval of these white liberals who they believe are
Unironically, Democrats are the real racists.
systemically oppressive?
If there's systemic racism in this.
What I'd like to know is where did you get the confidence from to make a film with such
ignorance, sheer ignorance. You know, there's no confidence to equal it. It's only when you know something about a profession, I think, that you're timid or careful.
How does ignorance show itself?
I thought you could do anything with a camera that the eye could do or the imagination could do. And if you come up from the bottom in the film business, you're taught all the things that the cameraman doesn't want to attempt for fear he will be criticized for having failed.
Yes.
And in this case, I had a cameraman who didn't care if he was criticized if he failed, and I didn't know that there were things you couldn't do. So anything I could think up in my dreams, I attempted to photograph.
Yes.
You got away with enormous technical advances, didn't you?
Simply by not knowing that they were impossible, or theoretically impossible.
Yeah.
And of course, again, I had a great advantage not only in the real genius of my cameraman, but in the fact that he, like all great men, I think, who are masters of a craft, told me right at the outset that there was nothing about camera work that I couldn't learn in half a day, that any intelligent person couldn't learn in half a day. And he was right.
It's true of an awful lot of things.
Of all, you know, of
like if a plane crash, I already know I'm planned ahead, dude. I'd eat a Vietnamese guy.
Why?
Because that's easy. It's a starter move. If you attack somebody bigger, if you eat somebody bigger in front of other people, it's going to alarm people. But you
got to eat a small person, so stature is important.
I think if you gum down a Viet, people aren't going to be that upset at you.
Well, the Vietnamese people are going to be super upset. What are you talking about?
No,
Somebody's
okay.
dad.
Yeah, they're more understanding of things, dude.
Is this a character you're playing?
No. But if you eat you eat a black lady and her family's there, they're going to be pissed.
So you think a Vietnamese person will let you slide?
I think that they'd be much more forgiving over a couple of day period.
I think
their relatives. You don't think so? Honestly.
Well, one thing, no, I don't think so. I definitely think they'd be super pissed at you, especially modernized ones. But what is interesting is like Vietnam is one of the few places where Americans can go back to Vietnam and they don't seem to hold any grudge at all.
Exhibit A.
Dude, yeah, exactly.
Like if a plane crash.
You now make a point of that's an investment criteria for you.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies.
Don't even want to do it.
I made a video saying that I enjoyed Joe Rogan's podcast. Immediately, I lost 15,000 followers, and I got all these hate comments about, "Oh, you love guns." I was like, "No, I like his podcast." It's, "Oh, you're a right wing." I'm like, I don't even understand American politics. I just like his podcast. And then one of my clients reached out and said, "Vin, take that video down. We can't be seen to be working with someone like you if you're posting this content, especially on LinkedIn. We take it down." I was like, I think it's easier for us not to work together. You're changing who I am.
Hell yeah, bro.
You're making me lie to everyone to pretend to be something that I'm absolutely not. And I see this all the time. People are so afraid of what other people think that they will do whatever other people want, and those people don't care about you and they'll forget about you anyway. If you try to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one. The person willing to state the truth and be themselves, very powerful. Whereas the person that allows every other person to dictate what they do does not have power. I made a video saying,
yeah, no, that's awesome. And dude, this freaking in America, where was it? Philadelphia, somewhere. Maybe not Philadelphia. I don't want to trash someone's city if it wasn't there. But this dude stabbed this black dude, and it's relevant because of what happened afterwards with the cops. But like, the dude like stabbed this chick or this boyfriend to death in front of this woman, and she wouldn't even participate with the cops. Like, yeah. I forget whether that's relevant to what we just saw, but
Men have difficulty with women who are completely out of control.
But what is an out of control woman? What is this creature? How do we know when we met one?
Let's find out.
Well, I'm sure that you've met women in your life that acted towards you in a bullying and detestable manner. It's very difficult for women to cope with that because they don't have any real recourse. And female bullying can be unbelievably vicious. It takes the shape of reputation destruction, innuendo, and gossip. So because people look at aggressive and antisocial behavior in women and in men. And in women, it tends to take the expression of innuendo, gossip, and reputation destruction. And in men, it tends to take the form of outright physical aggression. There's a whole literature on that. This has been known.
We are sexually dimorphic mammal species. This is what women do. You know, recognize it. You know, sometimes it's not obvious that a woman's a very bad person. You know, I'm not saying all women. I'm saying that this is the way that, like, you know, that women show their aggression is more likely to be through this way. You know, some Gina Carano-ass woman, like, you know, some of them would be physically aggressive. It just depends, but this is more common for women to do.
Known for 30 years. I mean, look, women have to express aggression somehow unless you're willing to say that they're not aggressive. They tend not to do it physically, not to the degree men do, so they use other channels. And what other channels are there other than physical aggression if you're going to be aggressive? Well, you go after people verbally. You go after them with innuendo and gossip and reputation destruction. Men have difficulty with women who are completely out of control.
Okay, so statistically, it is true that Asians, right, on average, make more money, better test scores, get into better colleges, all that stuff. I think the question is, why is that? And I don't know, model minority, whatever that label wants
That's
to be.
actually a myth because we cannot be.
Well, no, listen. Well, let me finish my point. We need to observe what makes people successful and unsuccessful. And I think when you look at trends that are generally true in the Asian community, usually you have families that are sticking together. You have, people are taught to work hard in school, not get into trouble. I think that translates to why Asians
Culture is important, okay? Culture matters.
en masse are successful. And I don't think you have to be Asian or white for that matter to not have kids out of wedlock, not, commit crime, not cause trouble or whatever it is. It's just a matter of common sense. That's what makes people successful. Okay, so statistically.
Yeah. Yeah. He's my model minority. I love that dude.
Black culture in America promotes degeneracy because when a black person becomes more affluent, when they put on a suit, when they get a good job, when they speak correctly, you're speaking white. Yo, why are you talking like a white boy? I'm just speaking English properly. When they talk about keeping black culture black in those affluent areas, like as a lawyer, as a doctor, they mean they want a doctor who's also sagging. They want a doctor who's still banging and throwing up signs.
I mean, I agree that there's a lot of stuff within hip-hop culture that is kind of negative, for sure.
All of it. All of it. Black culture in America promotes degeneracy because when a black person becomes...
And, there's some stuff in there where, it's conspiracy theory-ish, but producers were apparently promoting specific types of music. And I don't know. You can look that up yourselves. But it's, I can't talk about it on YouTube.
Pizza roll, let's go. Pepperoni, let's...
You say that when somebody's like, you talk too much.
I just think this chick
God
is cute.
forbid I'm good at something. I'm good at talking. I'm gonna do it. You say that when somebody's like, you talk.
Yeah, I just think she's super cute. That's probably why I put it there. But yeah, no, I'm good at talking, so I'm going to do it. That's why I started a podcast instead of bothering my friends and family.
When it says in the Old Testament, worship no other gods than me, the implication I offer is that we are a species that worships. And if you do not access the divine, you will worship the mundial. You will worship the profane. You will worship your own identity. You will worship your belongings. You will worship the template laid before you by a culture that wants you, but gets you distracted and relatively dumb. When it says in the Old Testament, worship no other gods than me, the implication
But do you deny that science cannot account for everything?
Yes, I do deny that science...
So what can't it account for?
Well, let me list 5. Logical and mathematical truths cannot be proven by science. Science presupposes logic and math, so that to try to prove them by science would be arguing in a circle. Metaphysical truths, like there are other minds other than my own, or that the external world is real, or that the past was not created 5 minutes ago with an appearance of age. Ethical beliefs about statements of value. You can't show by science whether the Nazi scientists in the camps did anything evil as opposed to the scientists in Western democracies. Aesthetic judgments, number 4, cannot be accessed by the scientific method because the beautiful, like the good, cannot be scientifically proven. And finally, most remarkably, would be science itself. Science cannot be justified by the scientific method. Science is permeated with unprovable assumptions.
Okay, now those are just my pictures. Yeah, that's me with a guy named Uncle Fucklehead. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing that. I gotta just do some actual work right now. You guys are welcome to hang out, but I'm not gonna be doing much. Still send me stuff and ask me questions and shit though if you'd like. Whoa. Jurassic Poppy. Yeah, I'm talking what's his name tonight? Q-Pole. Wait, oh, I'm on Substack. Why am I on Substack? Oh, I was looking at his Substack. I gotta turn the AC off. It's too cold. Okay. Let's make a freaking thumbnail. AC is not based. Yes, you're right. You're right. I knew you. I knew I was gonna get shit like that. Yeah, I know. I know. I have no excuse. I say I spend a lot of time outside though, so I hope that that's good enough. Euro bullying? Yeah, dude, seriously. Oh, you know, I'm American. End of the day, it's So I'm just gonna share my screen while I freaking make my oops. Oh crap, I can't share it. Oh, yeah, I can. I'm just gonna share the screen while I make my logo for today. There we go. Okay, we're gonna get rid of all these. Let's replace this. The one I just put on the... Oh crap, where do you go? Oh no. Oh, there it is. Fantastic. What is this? ISL 13 or something? ISL 13. And it shows up, we were just talking. Yeah, this dude thinks that Powell is the chairman of our Fed. What do you use to edit pictures and stuff? I don't really edit pictures that much, but I use Adobe Express to make my thumbnails. And I have some others. There's a few different packages you can get from Adobe. I'm just trying to... So what I'm doing right now is I'm finding some other, I'm finding some stuff to put on the thumbnail. I have the common theme that I use. Been using GIMP, and it's hard as fuck. No, you got to get something better than that, bro. There we go. Okay. Jerome Powell. I usually go to Wojak Paradise. I can go here. I'm going to see if they have one of Powell. Nah. Fed. This doesn't work. Ooh. Nice. I got to use that for something. I got to find something to use that for. So we're going to be talking about Jerome Powell here. Go to large size so it has better resolution. If this, sometimes they open as images, that's going to work. Now I'm going to, so I just download, there's probably a better way to do this. Okay, no worries. I mean, this one's just going to be kind of dumb, but that's okay. It's perfectly fine. It should work. What am I doing right now? What is happening? Oh, that's all I have to do. I'll probably make this better. I need a better resolution one. There we go. No, not safe link. Gee, dang it. Well, that's better. What's this? Okay. So, dude, I mean, okay. So this guy tonight. I'm going to share this thread here. Powell's higher for longer. Whoa. Yeah. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight, but I'm going to use this to title the episode and make the logo. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. think that's a. Powell fights globalism. That's what he thinks. Oh, I shouldn't have. So what's up with the Fed? Go Bergen? I don't know. This guy I'm talking to tonight, I mean, actual illegitimate scholar comes on at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's probably late for you if you're in France, but that's going on like an hour. So I'm actually going to hop off here for just a second. And I will be back at 8 because I got to set up the stream and everything. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys.